Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. Let's watch.
Look like I want to say this on the record. White people date all the time, and they look like siblings almost every single time. I don't want to hear that you guys look like siblings.
He wouldn't give me anything about his looks.
No, you're not.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
He was kept talking about his fashion.
Which I have to say is kind of off.
Is it off?
Yeah, I'm
not feeling
sorry.
it?
No, I'm not feeling it. The whole 80s breakdancing, like little tail thing.
All right, so Marissa is introducing Ramses to her family, her siblings and her mom. And the mom is saying that Ramses's fashion sense is off. I think it's on the borderline of jokiness. So maybe she just has a really dry sense of humor.
Drawn in.
I know that.
Something that I wanted in my life was someone who was like fun and playful, but the way we think, like the way we like approach different topics, our communication style is like very good. Like she's someone who doesn't allow things to like fester. I mean, we had a moment and she had to step away. Like she was like, don't touch me. Like I need, yeah, she was like, don't touch me. And like, I need a moment. And like, I was like,
I wonder if they're talking about the conflict or the discussion that we saw on camera, or if they're talking about a different moment, but that's a little bit more detail. So it sounds like whatever conflict that was, it was of a significance where one would say, it sounds like he was reaching out to hold her hand or hug her or something, and she's like, don't touch me. So, interesting.
like that's fine. Like I wanted to give her a moment to like feel through her feelings, just let her know like I was there for her. But yeah, I think that was I'm glad.
It's probably not the best way to begin the vetting process with Marissa's family. Yeah, there was this moment when we fought and she didn't want me to touch her. So, that's normal. I mean, we've seen them interact and they have a good dynamic for the most part on camera. So these folks don't know that. They haven't seen it.
Glad we had that moment because it was all like glossy and beautiful in Cabo and in the pods, but like I needed to know that this wasn't just like an infatuation. I do want you in my life, and like you're someone that I like see like having like this really like beautiful marriage and like longevity. At the end of the day, you see me for like who I am, and I feel like you feel the same way. That like I see
like
you
very
and like
understood.
I will say that Ramses is handling it pretty well compared to other people in the situation, but he's talking a lot. Maybe he feels like this would help, and I guess it would, right? Because the family is often wondering, do you really love my family member or not? So it sounds like he's demonstrating that pretty well.
Bomb. But I want to make sure that you're not relying on her law degree and her money, because if a kid is produced in this relationship, you don't want me coming up there staying with you for a while, taking care of a kid because my daughter has to fucking work.
Mom doesn't want to come live with me because she thinks I'm evil, but
She is a bitch. She is bossy.
Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe that's just the mom's perception, and other people wouldn't necessarily say that about Marissa because we haven't seen any evidence of that, but we've only seen a tiny bit of her behavior, Marissa's behavior. But it is notable that the mom is a straight shooter, is one way of putting it. And it makes me wonder, because Marissa is particular in her demeanor and vibe regarding smiling a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But I wonder if the dynamic between her and her mom, and maybe Marissa, her role in the family was to smooth things over with laughter and smiling. Some people will adopt this mode, this automatic mode that they go into, maybe particularly when they're uncomfortable. But sometimes it's hard to detect the landscape emotionally in a room, and so you just default to the safest behavior, which is to giggle and laugh. And they will giggle and laugh and smile in times when it doesn't really make any sense. I haven't seen that from Marissa, but I wondered in the pods when I did see her exhibit that behavior, which there's nothing wrong with it, but I just sort of noted it. Seeing the mom, I'm now wondering if it's actually a defense that Marissa had to develop, or a role in the family that Marissa was given by the system. And the roles that we have in our family of origin and the systems that we operate, whether it's in our family of origin or the family that we're in, or in the workplace or among friends or something, we both we unconsciously volunteer for that role, and we're elected to that role, is the theory. And it just makes me wonder what that is. And what it can do is, there's pros and cons. The pro is that you can come across as very safe and easygoing and easy to talk to, and you're good at making people feel at ease. Might be good in customer service or sales or law, I don't know. And the downside is that when you deserve to feel feelings that are not pleasant, you will suppress them, maybe not even notice them, and that can cause a lot of issues.
I am.
Yeah.
He's seen it.
No, I've seen it.
He's seen me try to boss him.
And we talked through that.
We did talk through it.
It's
Okay, so they're agreeing, Marissa's agreeing, and Ramses is agreeing that she can be bossy at times. I wonder what that looks like exactly. Who knows?
I thought the most loving thing I could do for her was to allow her to.
Did you both agree on divorce?
We both did. Yeah, we both agreed
Okay.
on divorcing. Like it wasn't like
So
a
it wasn't
big.
just you that you did for her. You both agreed.
We both agreed that we're
Okay.
going in different directions.
Because honestly, you're making yourself sound like a saint. I mean, she agreed, you agreed, then
We
you
arrived at a
both
conclusion.
agreed. Okay.
Right. Going into the pods, I looked at it as like a benefit. Like I've
So I can't figure out if the mom is just a straight shooter and is balanced in her perspective and is fair to others. I was hoping that was the case, that she might just be a very forward, blunt person, but she does care about people and gives people the benefit of the doubt. Some people are just really forward. And the other possibility is that she isn't fair and that she's blunt and hostile for unknown reasons. I mean, I guess it's not a mystery. She's worried about her daughter, and any parent, any family member should be concerned about this situation to find out that, because a lot of the family members didn't even know that their family member went on the show. So they're just on a vacation sometimes, or they will say that they're going on a reality TV show and they don't give them the details, and then all of a sudden they're engaged, and 3 weeks later is going to be the wedding. I feel like in the first season they had more time before the wedding, but every time they will show how many days until the wedding, I'm always shocked at how little time they have after the getaways. I think they just have like a few weeks. So, yeah, I wonder if that's for budget reasons or something, because if they have another month, that's another month of them having to shoot footage. But they wouldn't necessarily have to, right?
All went to college. They've all worked hard. They all live on their own. And I'm very proud of them. But to me, marriage is not forever. It would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice if marriage lasts forever. But I don't believe in forever. It's 15 years, 20 years, God is happy when it's happy, and then it ends. Mm-hmm. You tolerate each other till it's over. I think that...
Tell me that you've had some bad marriages without telling me that you've had some bad marriages. It's fine. I agree actually with the, part of what she's saying, in that, of course, when we set off to commit to someone for the rest of our lives, we should take it seriously, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of trust and meaning and planning and closeness and trust that can come from fully committing to someone for the rest of your days on this planet. And at the same time, marriages end. A lot of marriages end. You might hear a statistic that 50% of marriages end in divorce. Well, that's a little bit deceptive because it includes second, third, fourth marriages. The stat that is, I think, more helpful is, I think, something like 40% of first marriages end in divorce. It's still a good portion, right? But it's not quite half. So a lot of marriages, and so second marriages are more likely to end in divorce. Third marriages are even more likely to end in divorce. Something like, I think 70%, don't quote me on that, of third marriages will end in divorce. I could get into the details as to the factors that are speculated as to why that is. But a lot of marriages end in divorce, and the way that we narrativize those divorces is important and sometimes problematic in that it can be stigmatized. It can be seen as a failure. Think about all these phrases that we use. I have a failed marriage. We have a broken family. And there's nothing. It's not a failure. The family isn't broken. It's just a different configuration. And if it's managed well enough, it's fine. There are plenty of families that go through divorce that are totally fine and loving, and everyone is relatively well adjusted and only need 5 years of therapy, which I believe is at least the minimum for everybody, regardless of how well you're raised. And so we have to understand that, it's okay. The way that she's saying it is that there's no chance that anyone would enjoy marriage past a certain due date, and that you tolerate each other until you break up. And okay, that's her point of view. I think she might be trying to help her kids put in perspective what marriage is and what to expect, not to have the Disneyland fairy tale vision of what marriage is, because that's not gonna happen. And she's maybe overcorrecting a little bit.
You and Marissa should do a prenup. So she has worked too hard to get fucked over and has suffered from men fucking her over, between her father, her stepfather, to then get fucked over by her husband because he's not making.
So it sounds like she is giving advice based on her own regrets and her own trauma, her own pain. And she's saying you should get a prenup because I don't want her to get fucked over. She's making some assumptions about earning potential based on pretty little information that Ramses has said. It's also a bit of a question mark regarding how much money Marissa will make once she graduates with her law degree, and what the ramp up will be. There's a thought of, lawyers, you're rich. Not necessarily. I mean, it's like any other profession. There's a lot of different kind of gigs, and I think the mom's jumping to conclusions. But she's a straight shooter, so she's gonna lay it out.
Then you should have no problems having a prenup that you guys could walk away with no problem.
I have no problems with like a prenup. I know the amount of work she's put in. Like I know the amount of years she's put in to like arrive where she's at. Like I'm not here for her money. Like I'm not here for
she
like.
She don't have any money right now. She's not done with law school.
Yeah, in some ways, the prenup, at least for the first number of years, would protect him, and so, depending on what the agreement was, because in all likelihood, Marissa has a fair amount of student debt. I don't know though. She's working. She's a legal clerk. Yeah. Law clerk. So maybe she's paying for her tuition as she goes, but it wouldn't be unusual for someone in her position to have a fair amount of student debt.
I don't take it personally.
She truly loves you, cares about you, whatever all this is at the moment. I feel like I'm dealing with her from high school and college love or whatever, and we're arguing a little bit, but this is serious shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not going through all this anxiety that I have to worry about my daughter on her wedding day. I don't care.
Yeah, I think some in the audience, and they're playing the ominous music, might interpret her as being a jerk face. And there's some maybe a little bit of unfairness there, but I don't know. If I were in Ramsey's shoes, I would be totally okay with this. There's nothing wrong. Sometimes the family members, actually, the super nice ones, I mean, I'm not bothered by them, but I'm a little mystified that they don't have more skin in the game or that they don't have any reservations. I mean, maybe they don't communicate them on camera, but this is a very strange thing to hear. The mom is talking about how Marissa has been really screwed over by a lot of men. Maybe that's true. Maybe I'm guessing there's a lot of nuances there, but those relationships probably had a lot more time before Marissa and the other person were committed to the point where a lot of damage could be done, There's a lot more vetting, and yet horrible things happened. This situation, I think the cast members have known each other for a max of maybe two and a half weeks, 3 weeks at the most, right? So, I think it's totally rational to have some reservations. The mom isn't saying anything so far that I think is unfair. I think she's just talking the way that I think a lot of parents would be thinking. And it shows that she cares. And she's not putting Ramses in a bind here. If she were cornering Ramses and requiring him to somehow prove himself or something, she's a talker, she's a communicator, she doesn't have an editor, I don't think. And so I think she's just putting it all out there. And so far, I think I appreciate the honesty, I guess.
What you guys do on the wedding, I do, whatever, because I'm always going to be there.
Yeah.
She knows no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't care what I do, whatever, I'm always going to
be there for her.
be there for her. They all know.
Yeah, and if I was Ramses, I would be thinking, well, I expected this. I have to prove myself to her because why would she trust me? And I don't know why I'm going to cry. I guess I'm just... I'm assuming something about the mom. I'm taking a guess that if Ramses was loyal, that the mom would have his back like a lot. So maybe that's why I'm crying. I don't know. Or she is a total jerk face and she's about to show that. I don't know.
Welcome into the family. That's
Thank
all,
you.
as long as you make her happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
Are
there
you giving
at
me?
the
Are you
end.
giving me your blessing right now? Is that what this is? Are you
There ain't no blessing because I don't believe in forever.
Well, you give me the
whatever,
thumbs up.
whatever
Yeah, whatever.
Marissa wants
Yeah,
is
yeah.
all that matters to me. She's head over heels in love with you, I guess. That's what,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not a put down to Marissa, that Marissa doesn't receive this from the mom as the mom thinking that Marissa is frivolous and stupid or something, because it could come across that way. Oh yeah, whatever. She thinks she's in love with you, so whatever. But I think it's going well. Ramses handles his own. He is pretty comfortable in these kinds of situations and had made a pretty good, well-meaning joke. So is this you blessing the relationship? And he laughs and gets eye contact with the other with Marissa's siblings.
I think you're gonna be a good brother.
I'm back. Okay, what do they say?
Just know you don't get her blessing unless y'all do a prenup.
Well, I don't need her blessing, Mom.
Are you going to do the prenup, Marissa?
I will decide those things.
Just don't become billionaires.
Millionaires aren't ethical. I was like, listen, she's going to be a millionaire. I was like, still not.
Okay, so they're editing it, but there seemed to be a little bit of tension that was between Marissa and her mom. And so, I wonder what the mom's like. Well, they were saying about blessing, and then Marissa says, I don't need mom's blessing. There seemed to be some anger there, frustration, history. And then the mom says, you need to get a prenup. And Marissa's like, I'll decide that later. And that points in the direction that the mom may be off camera. In history, what we're seeing right now is greatly amplified and much more pointed and sharp and hostile and unrelenting is my guess. That's kind of what I'm picking up from Marissa.
I want to be a billionaire.
I don't look
We
forward
don't
to
have to be a
hoarding
billionaire,
wealth.
but we can be a millionaire.
Sure.
Can we get to the wedding first?
Did you give us your blessing, Mom?
I don't know. You can do the prenup, Marissa? I will just tell you, you hurt my daughter. I will cut your balls off.
All right, they're editing that. I mean, she did say that, but it's edited, and it's weird. It's almost like with Marissa's presence, it gets worse. I'm guessing that this is a triangulation, that the real conflict is between the mom and Marissa, maybe even in the family. I don't know. I mean, we've seen the other kids. I remember Marissa saying that there were 4 kids, right? So it's Marissa and her 3 siblings. And I wonder if the main tension in the family has always been between the mom and Marissa. I wouldn't be surprised, but who knows? And that Ramses is triangulated into that. When Marissa isn't at the table, then the differentiation level increases because that historical tension isn't present. And so the way that the interaction went was a lot more differentiated and relaxed and flexible-ish. Ramses seemed to be handling it okay. The mom was doing her thing, but not becoming rigid. You know, the way that they ended it was that Ramses was like, so is this your blessing? And she's like, I don't believe in blessing because I don't believe in forever. And she was passively saying, I'm good moving forward. And if she, she loves you, then okay. I think that's as good as you're going to get from the mom, which I think is a reasonable attitude. It depends on the family. Some people would rather suppress or put aside those reservations because they don't want to, put a fly in the ointment of the kids having their time and being excited about a marriage. So there's different styles. But, it seemed to be going okay. Marissa comes back and instantly the tension returned, not because of Marissa. I mean, she's not a tension generator, but the tension generation is from the mom and Marissa, seemingly. And then that's when we start to see more rigidity from her, from the mom, and from Marissa, for that matter. And then we get more hostility. What possibly is happening in this moment, it's highly edited, but the mom saying to Ramses, I'm going to cut your balls off, might actually be a communication toward Marissa of, I am against this, or I don't think you are a good decider, or you better choose correctly or else I'm going to fix this problem for you, or something like that, because it seems like the main conflict is between the mom and Marissa. Yeah, we've seen a lot of family members who have expressed their discomfort or disapproval or hesitation, and I'm trying to remember all the main ones. I remember Bliss's dad. People had very different reactions to it. Mine was, I think, more on the negative side. Other people didn't really see it that way. So what do I know? But I'm trying to remember other people. Oh, well, the UK version, there was, what's her name? Was it Jasmine's mom, right? And, she came around eventually. So I'm just trying to, where do I put Marissa's mama on that pantheon of angry parents, disapproving parents? I don't know. I think it really depends on how Ramses honestly took all of that, because I could see him, given his personality, saying, look, I would rather get that than have a real saccharine approval that doesn't really hold water, isn't sincere. She's a straight shooter, and you know what she's thinking because she says what she's thinking, and I kind of like that. I've thought that before. I'll tell you that I'd say about half the time when I conclude that about someone in my life, I'll say like, oh, well, because I can mix it up with, I don't do that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe I do a version of it. I've been known to ask questions, not so much in my more older life, but when I was younger, and people would say like, wow, you ask a lot of really personal questions. And this was before I even knew I wanted to be a therapist, like in high school. So there's that. But I have noticed that I am okay with people that tend to turn other people off with how forward they are. In fact, some of my best friends, I've noticed that they bother people when they first meet people. Like Umberto, he'll bother people. And, I like people that are very forward and honest and energetic and not boring, I guess. And so there's that. But I'll tell you that about half the time, the benefit of the doubt is not justified. And then I will later learn that the individual that I'm hoping is just a straight shooter and they have a heart of gold, in reality, they do not have a heart of gold. They are actually quite hostile and harmful and hurtful and angry and dark. And the blunt, fun attitude is just the tip of the iceberg of something that is really quite toxic. And then I have to question my relationship with these individuals. So I don't know. We'll probably never find out which of those Marissa's. But it is notable, I'll reiterate that Marissa's behavior in the pods, and particularly in the pods, just how smiley, not only in the pods, but also in the lounge. Again, there's nothing wrong with being smiley and nice and giggly and accommodating, but it does potentially shed light on that given what we're seeing with the mom. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.